the treasure that vanished in front of everyone. The town's most famous treasure disappeared overnight. 3 people had the keys, hundreds of life. People wanted answers. But the biggest clue was sitting in plain sight the entire time. Every year, the town of Hollow Creek held a festival unlike any other. For one weekend, thousands of visitors arrived to celebrate the town's history. At the center of the celebration stood the Silver Crow. The small silver statue wasn't particularly valuable. Experts estimated it was worth less than $10,000. But to the people of Hollow Creek, it was priceless. According to local legend, the town's founder had carried the statue west during the 1800s. For nearly 2 centuries, it remained the symbol of the town. Children grew up hearing stories about it. Visitors lined up to see it. And then, on the opening night of the festival, it vanished. The Silver Crow had been displayed inside a glass case in the town museum. The case wasn't broken. No alarms had been triggered. No windows were forced open. When museum staff unlocked the building the next morning, they found something impossible. The pedestal inside the display case was empty. The Silver Crow was gone. News spread through Hollow Creek within minutes. Shop owners discussed it with customers. Festival visitors crowded around the museum entrance. By noon, the entire town was asking the same question. Who stole the Silver Crow? The museum director, Margaret Bell, immediately contacted police. Investigators quickly discovered an important fact. Only 3 people possessed keys to the display case. Margaret Bell herself, assistant curator Ryan Turner, and security supervisor Frank Delaney. The list of suspects seemed very short. If the case had never been forced open, one of those 3 people almost certainly had to be involved. Ryan Turner quickly became the favorite suspect. 6 months earlier, he had been passed over for a promotion. Several co-workers described him as frustrated and resentful. One employee even recalled Ryan saying the museum never appreciated his work. Then investigators uncovered another problem. Ryan was deeply in debt. Credit card balances, personal loans, nearly $20,000 altogether. To many people, the motive seemed obvious. He had access. He needed money. And he had reasons to be angry. The rumors spread quickly. Frank Delaney wasn't free from suspicion either. 2 years earlier, he had developed a gambling habit. Although he had never been charged with any crime, the story remained well known around town. Police also learned he had recently fallen behind on mortgage payments. Financial pressure gave him a possible motive. And as head of security, Frank knew every camera angle, every alarm system, and every weakness in the museum. Many residents believed the mystery was already solved. Either Ryan had done it, or Frank had. Some even suspected they worked together. Margaret Bell, however, seemed untouchable. She had directed the museum for 15 years. She organized educational programs, historical exhibits, community events, fundraisers. If anyone cared about preserving the Silver Crow, it was Margaret. Nobody seriously considered her a suspect. In fact, most people viewed her as the victim. Among the festival visitors was Olivia Hart, a local newspaper editor with a reputation for noticing details others missed. She had covered town events for years. She knew the museum staff personally. And something about the investigation bothered her. Not because of what police had discovered, because of what they hadn't. The museum's security footage showed nothing unusual. No masked intruder. No suspicious visitor. No one approaching the display case after closing. The cameras monitored every hallway leading to the exhibit room. Yet somehow, the Silver Crow had disappeared. The more Olivia thought about it, the stranger it seemed. A theft without a thief. A missing treasure without evidence of removal. Something wasn't adding up. Olivia requested permission to inspect the exhibit herself. The police agreed. Inside the display case, she immediately noticed something unusual. The pedestal contained a faint circular mark, a clean ring in the dust where the statue had rested. But around that ring were tiny scratches. Fresh scratches, thin, curved, almost invisible unless viewed from the right angle. Olivia crouched closer. The marks looked as though something had been dragged across the surface. Not lifted. Dragged. That detail stayed with her. Later that evening, Olivia reviewed photographs taken during the festival's opening ceremony. There were hundreds. Most showed smiling visitors and decorated streets. Then one image caught her attention. The silver crow appeared slightly tilted. Only a little. So little that nobody else would have noticed. But Olivia compared it with older photographs. Every previous image showed the statue standing perfectly upright. Why had it shifted? The next morning, she returned to the museum. This time, she focused entirely on the pedestal. After several minutes, she noticed something everyone else had overlooked. The pedestal wasn't fixed in place. It moved. Barely. But enough. It rotated like a hidden turntable. Suddenly, the scratches made sense. Someone hadn't removed the statue. Someone had turned the pedestal. But for what purpose? Museum maintenance records provided the next clue. Decades earlier, the display case had been designed with a rotating base. Visitors could slowly turn artifacts to view them from every angle. The feature had eventually been abandoned. According to museum records, the mechanism had been locked permanently, or at least everyone believed it had. Olivia dug deeper. She examined old architectural diagrams stored in the museum archives. There she found something astonishing. Beneath the rotating pedestal was a concealed storage compartment, a forgotten space built into the original exhibit design, large enough to hold the silver crow. Her heart raced. The answer suddenly became clear. The statue hadn't been carried out of the museum. It hadn't been smuggled through a window. It hadn't been stolen by an outsider. It was still inside the display. Police dismantled the exhibit immediately. Inside the hidden compartment, they found the silver crow, exactly where Olivia predicted. The town was stunned. The treasure had been sitting inside the display case the entire time. But that discovery created an even bigger mystery. If nobody intended to steal the statue, why hide it? Why create the appearance of a theft? The investigation changed direction overnight. Now detectives weren't searching for someone who wanted the silver crow. They were searching for someone who wanted everyone to believe it had been stolen. Someone who benefited from the distraction. The answer emerged from financial records. Not Ryan Turner. Not Frank Delaney. Margaret Bell. The person nobody suspected. Months earlier, auditors had discovered irregularities in museum finances. Small amounts of money had disappeared over several years. Nothing dramatic. Nothing large enough to attract immediate attention. But enough to raise serious questions. The audit findings were scheduled to become public the week after the festival. Margaret knew exactly what would happen when they did. Her career would be over. Possibly much worse. So she created a distraction powerful enough to dominate headlines. A missing town treasure. A mystery everyone would talk about. And it worked. For days, nobody discussed the audit. Everyone discussed the silver crow. Using her key after closing hours, Margaret unlocked the display case. She rotated the pedestal. The silver crow slid into the forgotten compartment below. Then, she locked everything again. No alarm sounded. No glass was broken. No evidence suggested anyone had entered. It looked like the perfect theft, until Olivia noticed the scratches. Until she spotted the tilted statue in the photographs. Until she discovered the forgotten mechanism hidden beneath the display. Tiny details. Easy to overlook. Impossible to explain away. When confronted with the evidence, Margaret confessed. The town reacted with disbelief. Not because she had stolen the silver crow, but because she never intended to take it anywhere. Her goal was never the statue. Her goal was the panic. The headlines. The distraction. And for a short time, she got exactly what she wanted. Months later, Olivia wrote the final article about the case. Her closing sentence became famous throughout Hollow Creek. Most people think a mystery begins when something disappears, she wrote. But sometimes the real mystery begins when everyone starts looking in the wrong place. And that was exactly what happened with the silver crow.